Hey, I hope you're well. Thanks for clicking on the video. You know, I found a payload the other day that I shared with the team here and I really thought I had to share with you. Essentially, this payload is a document stealer, right? It's written in PowerShell, super easy to deploy. And instead of using something like SCP, FTP, or any other number of random ports or protocols that remote access Trojans and other tools use, it actually weaponizes the Dropbox API to exfiltrate as a method of exfiltrating these documents, right? So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's super relevant as well. If you think about that particular payload in an enterprise environment that's already using Dropbox as its approved SaaS storage, that's going to be lost in the noise if you're retrospectively looking at logs to try and find out how this data got out. You know, it's just another call to a Dropbox URL. Now, if I can just show you the payload for 2 secs. It's super simple. It's a 2-stage payload, kind of because I want it to be. You could do this in 1 stage in a lot of cases, but this makes it easy to deploy in certain circumstances, right? So, as I said, written in PowerShell, this will simply call to my Dropbox account where I'm hosting this payload, and it'll put it on the end user's machine, or the victim's machine in this case, and then it'll execute the 2nd stage. The 2nd stage is also super simple. Basically, this makes a copy of the My Documents folder, zips it up, puts it in a temporary directory so that the My Documents of the victim is not actually modified in any way. Everything from line 10 to line 18 is about building an API call in such a way that Dropbox will know what to do with it when it gets it. This is all in just the public API document for Dropbox. Line 19 makes the post request, and line 20 kind of covers the tracks from this payload, right? Now, I thought I'd show you what this looks like for an environment that's not protected by Netskope. So let's go ahead and open up this Word document, right? You saw that little blue flash? And then now you can see Callum's documents. This user here, his documents folder has been zipped up and sent to the attacker's Dropbox account. This is the attacker here, rather than the corporate approved one. And you can just see it's the contents of his My Documents page of My Documents folder, which is just here. One loop folder, one loop file. Let's look at how this actually works. So if I jump into developer options and look at the Visual Basic script, this is, you know, quite simple. We've just told the macro to, when the document opens, run the PowerShell script, which is just an encoded version of the 1st stage that I showed you before. It calls down the 2nd stage and it executes it. So let's look at something a little bit different. You know, I mentioned that this is an attack that could be difficult to see in an environment that uses a lot of Dropbox, right? But if we were going to mitigate this, I'd be nervous that we may interfere with, you know, the standard usage of Dropbox for a corporate approved Dropbox environment. But Netskope has something called instance awareness. They call instance awareness. So Netskope can actually look and determine the difference between an approved Dropbox environment and a non-approved Dropbox environment. On the left here, I have the approved Dropbox environment for this customer, right? Now, if I want to jump into my documents here and upload this test document, it's of course going to work because it's the approved Dropbox instance. However, if I wanted to use a personal Dropbox account and the attacker's Dropbox account here is a personal Dropbox account, it's going to fail. Netskope is going to say you're only able to upload documents to the approved account, right? So that's just an example of the instance awareness. So if a victim receives this Word document that I was showing you before, it's going to obviously not allow it to happen. And I'll show you a quick example of that. We'll run this. We saw the little PowerShell. It's still trying to upload the test, which is never going to work. And we'll get a notification from Netskope. Here we go. So now Ben's in trouble because his IT team think he's trying to upload stuff to a non-approved Dropbox account. And that is just simply never ever going to work. We can reload this and it won't work. So another way to deploy this payload that is as interesting as it is awkward to film is through using something called the Bash Bunny. The Bash Bunny is a tool made by Hack5. Had to give a shout out to them for actually making the payload that I've been using today in consultation with a few other people. This is essentially just a little Linux box that can emulate a keyboard among a myriad of other things. Essentially, this will get plugged into the computer and it will run the first stage of the payload that I was showing you before. So forgive the awkward way that I'm going to record this, but it's pretty interesting. Just keep an eye on the attacker Dropbox window that you can see on your screen. You'll see that at the moment the only exfiltrated documents there are from Callum, which was our first victim. Now I've just plugged in this little USB and it's going to start up sometime soon. You might see a little run box, there you go. And now you can see my documents have been stolen as well. Obviously, this endpoint isn't being protected by Netskope. So thanks for watching the video this far. I hope you enjoyed the demo of the payload that I found and the mitigation that Netskope can provide for it. You'll note that I didn't go into the policy that we put together for Netskope. That's just because each customer's environment is a little bit different and I wouldn't want to tell you to put a policy on that would interact negatively with other policies and that sort of stuff. But in saying that, if you do want to talk about how the policy was made, feel free to email me or Ben Sullivan. You can get us both at the email address cyber@nextgen.group or speak to your Netskope rep about this. Thanks very much. Hope to see you in another one soon. Bye.